Hi, I'm Al Goff.
And I'm Miles Miller.
Hi, this is John Schneider.
Hi, it's John Glover.
This is Justin Hartley.
This is Steve the Knight.
This is Aaron Ashmore.
This is Cassidy Freeman, and you are listening to Starkville.
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 Starkville House of L.
Starkville House of L.
Starkville House of L.
The podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Starkville House of L. This is our episode, not for any episode we're covering this week, but just a fun chat. I'm your host, Derek, and with me today, we're going international, all the way, across the waters. Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel. Sir, how are you?
I'm very well, and I've been looking forward to this, and it's going to be a wonderful chat. I'm looking forward to learning more about you.
And you.
And talking about super stuff in general, buddy.
I think that is one of the best ways you can spend a Monday. I mean, it's a Monday, but it's one of the best ways you can spend a Monday afternoon / evening.
Yes, it's a perfect way to spend any day of the week.
So, give us your background. What is your Superman? Now, I've actually heard this before a little bit. So, you actually got started by a little show we cover. Is that correct? Like your interest? Yes,
sir. Many a moon ago in there, it was we had a TV channel over in the UK that was airing Smallville. It was on one Sunday morning. It was the pilot episode. Now, this was before I became Superman obsessed, and I really enjoyed it. This was it was a fresh new TV show. It wasn't like what I thought was a bit boring shows like Dawson's Creek. I wasn't really enjoying that back when I was a younger geek. But I recognized the characters, and I was like, "Hang on, this is the Superman storyline." Obviously, I knew who Superman was. He's as famous as Coca-Cola. But after that pilot episode, I was in deep, and not like the generations of today where you can just click next episode. This was a wait. I had to wait for each week to get my next fix from Smallville, and then that first season finished, and I was like, "Oh, are we going to get a season 2 in the UK?" Because that doesn't always happen. Even though back in the day, a show in America might get a second season or a third season, they might not necessarily come to the UK.
Right.
And this was before streaming and before international DVD sales. So in the suspense of me waiting for a second season, I wanted to know more about the characters of Superman because I loved this story so much. So got some stories recommended to me, started reading Superman, enjoying Superman, collecting Superman. And so, yes, that one fateful day when Smallville landed in my life, all those years down the line, here I am.
Much like the meteors crashing in Smallville, it just kind of landed into your...
It is. It just turned in and turned my life around. I was much like a very baby Lana Lang. My eyes were opened up, and it was just an absolute roller coaster from then on.
Well, hopefully your parents were...
Yeah, they were fine. I'm not going to get smashed into that one. Yeah, goodness me.
So, circa when was this? This was after...
So this was like, when it first aired in the UK.
Okay.
So it's the early 2000s.
Okay, it was. Okay.
So this is like way back then.
Okay. What did it air on there?
It was a channel called, back then, it was E4.
Okay.
So in the UK, there are 4 channels.
Right.
There used to be before all the digital TV. There was 1, 2, 3, and 4. Eventually, number 5 came around, but this was on Channel 4. And then a channel called E4, which was their sort of next channel that they brought out. But it was, Sunday morning is when they would normally have the TV shows on for teenagers and young adults who were probably waking up from going out to parties and going out drinking. It was easy listening and easy watching TV. And Smallville, I think it used to be on about 10 o'clock in the morning. But I didn't start the episode sort of right from the get-go. It was halfway through. So I was like, oh, right, hang on. Didn't know anything about the show, but just recognized the storyline and the names of these characters.
Sure.
I was like, this is young Superman. Let's give this a go.
So how long did you have to wait before once you were started getting through season 1, how long was it before you were
it was months. Yeah, it was months and months and months. So, I mean, we get TV shows now, but back then, you really... Right. You had to wait. You couldn't rush it. It was the suspense of not knowing if you would get a new season and if that season would make it over here. So luckily it did. And then I was able to get DVDs and ways to sort of watch TV online back then. Sure. I am from that LimeWire generation.
Absolutely.
So there you go. So there were ways and when friends would send VHS through the post, and I would be able to watch it that way as well.
So how old are you, Luke?
I am 42, sir.
Okay, so not far off from each other. I'm 30.
Not far off.
I'm 39.
It's a good age bracket to be in.
Especially
we've been around.
It is.
We've seen some of the internet evolve. We've managed to get away and done some of the more stupid things in our life where social media wasn't around, so there's no photos or any evidence. I'm very grateful for that.
unless you've been hosting a podcast since 2005, and then some of that just follows you all.
Yeah, some of that stuff you can't shake off.
Not at all. So by the end of the show, you were watching along with it. I was fully invested. I wanted more of these characters. I wanted more of this storyline. I wanted to know the history of the character, of this universe that I knew existed, but didn't know too much about. So yeah, comics and books and the internet really helped out with that. So that being kind of your landing pad for the Man of Steel, what as you began to feast on other things,
yes.
What became the things that you did and did not like of Superman?
And Superman, it's hard for me to sort of pinpoint a moment or an era in the Superman stories that I don't like, because I can tend to go back and pick something out from any decade and enjoy it or see the faults that it did have. But for me, it was just I love learning new things. I wanted to learn like the behind the scenes details of how stories happened and how characters were created. So there wasn't really a part that I wasn't aware of. I'm still learning more things. There is so much information from the Superman universe that I am still enjoying and educating myself about. There are only so many encyclopedias that I can have in my collection, because there's always something new being released. I think later on this year, there's even another Superman book being released that I know I don't want in my collection, but I know that I need it.
Well, it's tough being an academic. You know,
I know
we're not fans. We're academics.
I'm taking that one.
There you go. Enjoy.
That's a golden one. That's it. But that's the thing, and it became a passion. It turned into an easy gift for friends and family members. Oh, Superman's there. Let's get that for Luke's birthday or Christmas. That's a nice, easy gift. And that was always nice when sort of that goes hand in hand. Every now and then I'll get a message from someone saying, "Oh, Superman's on TV. Did you know?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yes, I've had 10 other messages. I'm watching it right now.
Come over.
That's it. And that's nice to be, associated with, I'm sure you get that as well when someone sees something Superman that they might think, oh, I bet he doesn't have that. I'll try and get him that because that's a unique piece.
Yes.
And that's always nice when somebody does find me something that I haven't seen before, because I've seen most things. It's the unique stuff that I like.
Well, you'll get to a point, or at least I have, where people have stopped trying, like looking at things, like, he's already got that. I'm sure he's got that.
Yeah.
So they've gone to the custom side of, we'll get this made. Something, like Etsy or something created for.
I think that is just as nice as well. I mean, it's normally around Christmas time and my birthday. I'm not allowed to go shopping. But I've done that way sort of thing where I've been in situations before where I've seen something that I've really liked and didn't get it and regretted not buying it. So now if I see something, I'm like, I need that. Yeah. I need to grab it. Otherwise, it's just going to be an itch in my brain that won't be released until I get it. But yeah, Etsy, I think, is a fantastic place to get, as you said, custom gifts.
Yes.
I've had some, one of my nieces loves art, and she's always drawing me art for sort of birthdays, and I've seen it progress over the years. So I've got sort of different frames, whether it's crayon to pencils to watercolors. So hopefully one day when she's rich and famous, she can help me fund my collection.
I saw her Father's Day, Uncle
Day little
Godfather
/ Uncle Day yesterday. She likes random panels. And that was that wonderful Superman sombrero panel.
I'm not going to talk to you. I've always loved that.
It was such a unique panel that she done. I saw it. I was Googling Superman reference images, and that one came up. I was like, okay, that's fine. Nobody else has ever drawn me that before, so that's a first.
Out of context, there are some amazing memes that can and one-liners that can be pulled. One of my favorite things, a few years back, one of my co-hosts, Steve Glosson, and I were in Brian Q. Miller wrote one of the Smallville season 11 books, and he named a street corner after us. So Russell, at the corner of Russell and Glosson. And my mother had commissioned a painting of Superman standing over a grid of Metropolis, looking down at the corner of Russell and Glosson. Like,
wow,
just stuff like
that's
that
awesome.
Is neat to me. That I guess could copyright or not, but if he's just over the shoulder with the red cape, it could be anybody.
Yeah, as long as you're not sending it on and it was a gift from somebody else and you didn't commission it and yada yada yada.
Absolutely fine.
Yeah. Yes.
Please don't contact my mother. So, 80 years. There's so much to 80 plus years. There's so much to learn. There's so much to appreciate. So, what are it's almost hard because it's so encompassing. You're like, what's your jumping off point? Like, where do you even go to discuss the things that you do and don't like? I know one of the conversations we had when we were scheduling this, we were going to discuss the music of Superman with a mutual friend of ours who apparently was not unable to join us today. So hopefully we'll save that for a latter chat. But okay, let's do the police interrogation. Favorite movie, favorite Superman movie.
Oh, I'm a lover of Superman 78, as we all are.
Yeah.
It's one that has always been around, and again, I was a fan of that before Smallville, so it was always in my life, and it was always on TV here in the UK. It's one for me that I can enjoy at. Sometimes with some films, I have to start at the beginning. I can't start them halfway through or towards the end because. And this film, I'm happy to just hit play at any random scene and just sit down and get lost for as long as ever it's going to be playing for. It's a film that for many, many decades I wanted to see on the big screen. It's something I kept on wanting to do and had plans to do it, but things kept on getting in the way.
Yeah.
Plans were being changed. We got a pandemic.
Yeah.
But eventually it happened.
You got one of those too? I feel like we got one of those.
Oh, no, really? What a coinkydink.
I think it's spreading.
Yeah. But finally I got to see it. It was a big event at the Royal Albert Hall in London where it was played on the big screen with the London Philharmonic Orchestra at the same time.
Yeah.
So to see that film finally on the big screen with a live orchestra, just to make that moment a little bit more special. That moment in time for me sort of is just, it's a part of what I would say my origin story as a Superman fan. Mm-hmm. So that's why that particular film is always going to have such a strong grip on my heart, as it were. And I have seen it since a few times on smaller screens without a live orchestra.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still just as magical, don't get me wrong, but that moment, finally seeing it, I joined forces with the Royal Albert Hall to help promote it and became friends with the conductor because we did a few interviews to promote it. Then it kept on getting pulled back. And I was like, do you want us to record again or shall we just put the original out? I said, no, let's have another little chat. Let's catch up. And we've become friends, which is a sort of a weird little thing, but he's a wonderful, wonderful human. And before the concert began, I was able to gift him a pair of Superman socks, and just hidden away up the top is my one of my Superman 78 vinyls, which he kindly signed for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a wonderful little message inside as well. So for that reason, and for all those moments where it came to that moment, Superman 78 for me, it just it grabs me right in the tingles.
Yeah, I actually last month, April. What month is this? June. I think in April.
This is June.
Brian Miller from Smallville and I went to the Los Angeles Philharmonic at the Walt Disney Concert Hall in L.A. where they performed and backed 78, and it was, I mean, of course, special guests in the audience. Sarah Douglas was there.
Yes.
Salkind was there. Who else was there? I can't remember who all was there. There were several people there, and that was I've seen it in theaters before, but that was, of course, just, I mean, an audience clapping along with the beats and just the for the big moments and getting wrapped up into it, because that never happened in another theater experience for me watching it. I don't know if it has.
And that's
for
it.
you.
And seeing it so many times over the years, you tend to notice some things a bit more when you're with such a large audience, and you get the music as well. And what I really loved, sort of when there was an intermission, there was a sort of a little interlude where they played the same music, but sort of just remixed here and there.
Yeah.
There were different versions of the classic themes. And I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I can hear this right now, but I'm sure there's going to be a bootleg version somewhere, but I need to hear that version again.
Where did they break it for you? Where did the film split?
I believe it was just before. Oh, this has got me going now. It was literally about halfway through. It was. Did they cut it at a good time for you?
Ours was right after the Air Force One save. So, so right as he corrects Air Force One, but before he starts saving cats and everything.
I think it was. Yeah, it was just after sort of the that wonderful montage of saving moments. It could have been the same sort of time, but it was great to sort of, as you say, to see it. But my mind kept on. Do I look at the screen? Do I look at the orchestra? Do I look at the screen? Do I look at the conductor? I want to see what he's doing. It was definitely
and I wanted to see what everybody else was enjoying. I found myself looking at the audience directly across. We were on one of the side balconies, and directly across from me was a gentleman in a red jacket, blue shirt, and blue jeans.
Nice.
So he was very much enjoying himself. I haven't actually gotten to talk about that on the show yet, but yeah, that was an interesting. I looked up. Nudged Brian 20 minutes in the movie and pointed. I was like, I think your boy's here.
And that's it. I mean, there were definitely, when I went there were fans there of Superman, of the franchise, and fans of orchestras as well. It was a very it was my first time going to the Royal Albert Hall, and it's one of my favorite buildings that I've been to in the UK.
Yeah.
We were allowed to go in there and sort of take a few photographs before the masses came in. And one of the organisers explained, you've got your seating, that's all reserved, don't worry, but there's not a bad seat in the house. And I was like, I'm sure there must be a bad seat somewhere. We ended up sort of walking around and sitting in different places and looking, and there wasn't a bad seat in the house. They weren't lying. It was just such a magnificent building with just perfect acoustics that has been there for so long now. It's just a wonderful piece of London's history.
Yes. Familiar with that, familiar with the Palladium and the O2, of course, and some lovely facilities there. I would like to enjoy Superman in all of them.
And if that was the case, I'm all there for it. I went one time, was at on the just off the Thames, there was a little cinema there that played it, and I was able to sort of, as we went in, I said, do you mind if I just go upstairs and have a quick look in your projection room, because I've never been in a projection room before. So I was like, yeah, come on in. And sort of the guy that was in charge was like, he was proper geeking out, saying, this is how I do this is how I change the reels. I was like, I'm loving this is amazing. I was like, can I take that reel home? And he's like, no, you can't.
No,
I was like, okay.
No, afraid not.
You don't get it if you don't ask. So I thought, I'll give it a go.
You have to try. You have to.
You do.
You never know who might be in a good mood that day.
That's it. That's the thing.
So as Legend goes for me, I guess I was 3 for The Quest for Peace. I saw it in theaters. I don't remember seeing it in theaters. But I have never gotten to see 2, 3, or 4 in theaters. I mean, there's not really a draw for 3 and 4 to be replayed, unless it's a very niche thing in some cinema. But yeah, I've never gotten to see 2, and I've always wanted to see 2 in the theater.
I'd like to see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd happily see a Superman marathon. I'd probably be happy to see some elements of Superman 4 on the big screen, but it's to have those films. I mean, but it's happening more and more. There's more art house cinemas now in the UK, and I'm sure around America, that are playing the originals.
Yeah.
People like that nostalgic feel of seeing a film that isn't particularly crystal clear. We like the grainy elements. I, for one, have never been to a drive-through cinema. It's something we don't get here in the UK, mainly because of the weather.
Right.
But I would love to see Superman and Twister on a big screen in a double bill somehow.
I've seen Superman the movie at a drive-through. I've not seen Twister at a drive-through.
That's a perfect film for a
now.
tornado.
Now, yes, it is. Now I kind of want to find a drive-through that's showing Twisters this summer. And go
Some
see it.
4D experiments where they just sort
maybe
of
they'll
bring
do
out a
one of
cow
each.
halfway through filled with helium. It'd be perfect.
I do remember, of course, living in the South at the time. I do remember walking out of Twister in 96, 95, 96?
Mm-hmm.
What year?
Yeah, 96, I think.
96, and the air raid, the sirens going off because there was one on the ground less than a mile from me, and so we all proceeded to go back into the theater.
Goodness gracious me!
But yes,
Never.
go ahead.
Never experienced a tornado.
Yeah.
I've been in a few places where there's been tornado shelters, and it's always, even just seeing that has filled me with anxiety to be around that sort of that force of nature. I was in I think it was in Arkansas. I think it was or something there.
Yeah,
but that was many a year ago. Went to Little Rock for a work trip and loved it there because so many of the areas look like Smallville, and I was like, I might have some trouble going home after this trip, but yeah, never experienced a tornado or an earthquake.
well, it's 101 degrees today, so Fahrenheit here. So maybe at some point you would be like, "No, I'm leaving."
Yeah, that's good for me. That's warm.
That's
warm.
That's the lovely thing about Smallville in Vancouver. It was always nice and cold. Even when
Yeah, nice. It can look warm through a
Yes.
nice filtered lens, but it's not that warm. No, yeah, that is a warm day for you, sir.
It is.
We had our summer back in May for about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we've just had rain ever since. Quite nice today, but yeah, it's nothing compared to that American heat.
Yes.
I can remember that when I was at Smallville for the Superman celebration. I was like, wow, this is warm.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never really smelt tar. That's been on a car park.
Yeah.
Well, that was new for me. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, that'll sting the nostrils a bit. So
Yeah,
when
wow.
what year did you go to Celebration?
2018 was my first
Okay.
for the 40th celebration,
Yeah.
and then directly after it, 2019. Loved it. Loved that experience of going there and seeing a town, because I was there for the week. To see it transform from what it is to this Superman celebration, and see it going from sort of saying hello to people on the street in the morning, and then you'll see nobody else.
Yeah.
But throughout the week, it just get busier and busier and busier.
Yeah.
And went back the second year and got to host a panel with Helen Slater and Erica Durance.
Oh, that's lovely.
Which was like, it was a year for me when I got lots of fantastic opportunities.
Yeah.
Before all this Geek of Steel stuff, I was quite shy and retiring. I've had some moments where I've built some confidence over the years, and I've learned some things how to sort of conduct myself. But for a while, I said yes to every single opportunity that came my way, and just worried about it afterwards.
Yeah.
And I got an email saying, "Would you like to host the panel on the Superman stage and interview Erica Durance and Helen Slater?" I said yes,
Yeah.
and then signed off the computer and had about 10 panic attacks. And but it was a fantastic moment, and one that I will always remember.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a huge opportunity. I'm sure you enjoyed
Yeah.
that. And then you came back the next year again.
2018. Yeah, that was the first year that I just sort of went there as just as
And then
me,
tag
as it
teams.
were.
Yeah.
And I went back. They kindly invited me back the next year and said, "Would you like to host a panel?" And I was like, "Yeah,
That's
let's
lovely.
do it."
I hope that with the new film looming, that there are some things done in that town to
I hope so.
to drive people there. I think it's an important thing. As well as there's many places that are important to the Man of Steel throughout the United States and Canada.
Yes.
From filming locations to Siegel and Schuster's hometown, and there's so many different places that could be modified or utilized for even a premiere or just something special for the fans with the new film coming. But I hope the fans do remember those places that need their support from.
And that's it. I mean, it's still they get a lot of people each and every year. It's one of those towns where sort of they rely on the people that go back every year to go, but it definitely needs some sort of as you say, a boost of new eyes on that particular place, because it's a magical little place. There's some wonderful wonderful places in Metropolis. I got to on my second year back. I sort of had a little sit down chat with the mayor, the wonderful Billy McDaniels, which is a fantastic name, in his little office. And it was like, this is this real? Am I really in a mayor's office? I feel like Bruce Wayne. This is fantastic. But each and every person that I met there that I'm still in contact with, it's just one of the most charming places I've ever been to. And for a place like that to be associated with Smallville and Superman and Clark Kent and Ma and Pa Kent, it's the perfect place for Superman fans to attend. So I hope, as you say, next year and years into the future, it gets a bit more recognition. And as you said, Ohio and Canada and Kansas, there's plenty of places around the states where Superman is still a big deal. That's for sure.
It's on my bucket list, but I have not been to Alberta and Calgary to see filming from 78. I've been to Vancouver a few times.
Those fields for me, when I'm if I've got a video screensaver going on the TV, it's just sort of wispy hay fields going across this wonderful, wonderful land that you have in America. We have countryside here. Sure. It's a different kind of countryside, right? But those settings in Superman 78, that whole north scene, for me to be in the middle of nowhere in a field like that and just have nothing around you, and for the microphone with excitement, is just perfect solitude, as it were.
And for it to not even be America, not even be Kansas.
And that's the funny thing. Yeah, that's it. But I can pretend.
Absolutely. Well, I've always said, they always tell you don't meet your heroes in that kind of thing. Your perception will be ruined. And we got invited, actually in 2020, but because of COVID, we didn't go. But in 2021, we got invited to spend the day in Vancouver at the Kent Farm, and it's I had been there before, just briefly, not actually got out and walked around, but to because somebody lives there. I mean, the utmost respect for someone's property. I get having a fan having a connection with a place, but you have to respect that somebody lives there.
Yes.
But to be invited, totally different scenario. Yeah, I'll walk in any room you want me to. So getting to spend the day there, and it's just and it's always this kind of thing. I can remember as a kid growing up watching the Brady Bunch, and then being in Los Angeles one of my first times and going by the Brady Bunch house, and I was like, that is not how I pictured this at all. That's not what it looked like at all on screen. It's tiny, and there's all these other houses around it. And the Kent Farm is no exception, because the orientation that they would film the show on is not the orientation of the house from the main road or anything at all. Like it's completely, altered. And the gentleman that owns it, I've said before, I'm not going to mention his name because I don't ever want to give somebody an excuse to be able to reach out to him and be like, we heard about you on this show. But, when he invited, he was so nice and so kind and went through the barn. And the first episode of the show was actually filmed in the barn before they had built the sets and everything. So the first, Clark's first barn loft scene is actually in that barn.
Wow.
And so getting to that's kind of hallowed ground. I actually have
like a plank of wood just ripped from the wall.
Well, okay, so hang on, Luke, don't call me out. So I do have a vial of driveway gravel.
See, that's darling. Yeah. That is. I'm a big fan of pebbles. When somebody goes away on a holiday, and I say, "What do you want me to bring you back?" Say, "Bring me a stone from your beach, and I'll put it in my pond in the garden." But that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, I thought that was good, and but I do have a piece from the arbor where the Kent Farm sign was hanging.
Wonderful.
That I have not done anything with yet. It has been put away, but those were gifted. I didn't just go in and start taking stuff.
Up there have a crowbar just ripping stuff out.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's free domain. It's fine.
I'll pay for it. You're not using this arbor anymore, are you? The show put it up. The show put it up. Because we were talking about, he was like, I haven't replaced the gravel. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to scoop up a little bit here and take it home with me. But we're on the porch at one point, which the back porch, which the show considered the front porch, which is not. It's actually the road is on the other side of the house, and that side of the house is the front porch, and they never used that on the show. Now on one of the Arrowverse crossovers, the one where they go to the farm,
Yes.
that they do film on that porch, which they never did on Smallville. So if you ever watch that clip where I think Barry's sitting like on top of the railing and everything, that's actually the front of the house. But we were on the back porch, which they always filmed on as the main entrance to the kitchen. And he's inviting us inside, and the window is right there. And of course, they never filmed in the house,
No.
And I could see in the window, it's not right, mentally in my head. That's not.
Where am I? This isn't right. this is some different dimension.
I'm standing where they have all stood, and I know what should be beyond that door, but it's not there. And I just respectfully said, I feel like if I walk through that door, it's going to ruin my day. Because if I don't walk through that door and there's not a warm glow of sunshine coming in from, the window,
Yes.
and some Mark Snow music playing gently, and Martha's not over there making muffins or something, this is just going to wreck my whole trip. So I respectfully, I did not enter the home. I appreciate that he invited us in, but I was like, I think that's just going to break my mind a little bit.
And I admire that integrity to your fandom, is that you didn't want the moment ruined, because it would take away a lot of that magic. Because you see that house in your head, you can hear those many pickup vans that have gone up and down that gravel.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that back door and the porch doors open up. You can see Clark running down the stairs and zooming around the kitchen and cleaning up after the parties.
Yes.
You don't want that in your head, to be in that location for it to be ruined.
Because
I'd love to be
the next
in
time
the barn.
Right. The next time I watch it, one of them walk through, and then it cuts to the inside of them coming through, and I was like, that doesn't look right at all.
That's not the barn that I was in.
Yeah. And there were so many neat things that, so like the basketball hoop on the outside of the barn, the bolts are still there from where the basketball hoop was, and stuff like that. So there were so many little...
There's history there.
Yeah, little nuggets of history that
Yes.
I was like, I feel... That feels good. Nothing's been... There was one side of a wall that had been painted, and I was like, not going to look at that. Just going to go around to this side.
Just get fresh back.
And there were 6 of us that have worked on the show in some capacity or not over the years, and we all got to go together and just walk around. I mean, Elvis fans go to Graceland, and we went to...
that's the thing. I think if everybody has a passion for something that they've endured for so long and grown up with, going to somewhere that has such a strong connection with that universe, it's a big deal.
Yeah.
Some people don't really understand it and get it. I've had some funny looks over the years, but I know people that have traveled all over the world to go to Old Trafford or go to Wembley to visit a football stadium, which to me, it makes sense. You want to go to that hallowed ground, as it were. But to go to somewhere where that particular show was filmed for so many years and that we have such a strong connection to, it is definitely on one of my many bucket lists of places to visit and just to be in and just chuck in the headphones and listen to some Smallville songs and some Smallville playlists.
Say the word, I'll meet you there.
Yes.
And what's great is, of course, they filmed there for 10 years. All of it's there. The Daily Planet's there. Luthor Corp's there. It wasn't just one thing. I mean, we did all of it. And like I said, I'd been there before, but to do it with some of my closest friends who became my friends because of A, Smallville, or B, our podcast, we were just enamored. I mean, it was just absolutely, all over us to be able to visit these places together. I mean, to all line up on the bridge where Lex crashes into Clark, and all these places. And one of our co-hosts, Robin Burge, had gone by himself a few years ago and had masterfully mapped out every point.
Fantastic!
Of what to hit on what day. You can't go to Victoria Island. You can't do the Kent Farm and Victoria Island in one day because you have to ferry to Victoria Island to go see Luther Mansion, and that's a whole day of in itself. And it just like he was a true travel advisor, getting us down. The only thing that we literally just ran out of time for in the 7 days we were there, because we tried to fit so much in, was we did not get to go to Crater Lake, which I would have loved to do, but we just didn't get to. But we figured if we were going to have to nix anything, that would be the one to.
Yeah,
to
so
nix,
it's just a bit of, in the grand scheme of things, that's just a little bit of nature.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
necessarily history.
There's no monument
that's just
there,
the nature.
right?
No. There's no blue. We get blue plaques in England where if it's a sort of a building of recognition,
Right.
there's a big blue circle. There's nothing there at the lake. It's just trees and water.
No. And if you go in there, you don't know what's going to happen. You may come out with abilities or what have you.
Yes, only for a while, but
Yeah.
you'll shake it off.
But there's
It's fine.
in a decade of filming, there was so much to see. I mean, there's multiple buildings that were used for the high school, and all kinds of things. I mean, I could have spent a day. We got to have lunch inside the Daily Planet. There's a restaurant inside there. So, and of course, some of that was lifted straight from the elevators and everything, the Art Deco style. They recreated that on set there in Burnaby. So it's just really, it was. I mean,
They just left it there.
But when to go in there and see what it was constructed from, what the vision was. I mean, you feel like you were in the Daily Planet. So when you're like, all right, let's go have lunch. And
yeah, why would you not leave? That's the thing. I would just stay there forever and a day. Wow.
And the guys wanted to recreate Lionel's death scene, so they all went and laid on the steps.
just draped down.
Yeah, that got
most
some
dramatic. Fantastic.
That got some looks. Americans, dead on the side of the road. What are you hoping for next year? It's a big year.
It is a big year. I mean, Superman's always going to be a talking point. It's always going to be sort of a topic of conversation and controversy. I'm just happy that he's still being talked about on a daily basis, whether it be for the good, the bad, sometimes the ugly. But it's going to be a big year. James Gunn, for everything that he gets in the press about him, he knows how to make an entertaining movie.
Yeah,
he knows how to market a movie. He knows how to respect the source material and the comics and give credit where credit is due. So I'm easily excited.
Mm-hmm.
I get excited over the smallest of things. I'm a magpie. If I see something shiny, I'm going to grab it and just stop. So I'm excited to see what he does with the franchise, being this film and all the rest of DC as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping out of anything that we just get a lot more Superman merchandise, because I'm always a fan of fresh stuff to add to the collection.
I don't think there will be a short supply there. I was telling you before we started recording about having to redo my studio in the last few weeks, and the amount of stuff I've found in boxes that I was like, oh, I forgot I had you. Why aren't you displayed? Because I don't have room to display it all.
Yes, that's it.
I just don't have the space for it. But and especially I found so many things from Man of Steel from 2013, which we just had the anniversary this weekend.
Yes, that was scary.
Of the film. And I literally have, so here in the States, there was an advanced screening for Walmart shoppers. One of the most American things you could ever.
Here's the thing. Guess what year I went to Arkansas?
Oh, 2013?
June.
There you
June
go.
2013. I almost didn't make it back for my midnight screening, but pretty much our trip to Arkansas. Back then, Walmart owned the company that I work for. They don't anymore.
Oh, okay.
And once a year, they have a big shareholders meeting where all the stores from around the world go to Little Rock, Arkansas, and meet some of the Walton family and
Because
do
that's
these
where
big
it's
events.
headquartered out of, yeah.
It was surreal. It was a very surreal place to be. But I was literally I applied to go because I wanted to go because I've heard fantastic things. But I thought, well, I'm out there. There's going to be merchandise over there that I can't bring back to the UK.
Sure.
The brain started working. I managed to get a trip to Arkansas with work. We didn't get much free time, But the free time that we did have, I found a local mall, somebody to take me there, a Hot Topic, which we don't get in the UK.
Right.
So I managed to get pretty much all the sort of unique Funko Pops that were massive at the time.
Right.
And then Walmart, because as you said, they were helping promote it. And I went to Walmart, got a cart, as you all say. We say trolley here in the UK. I just filled it up with as much Man of Steel merchandise that I could. Half of my suitcase that I took out to America stayed in the University of Arkansas dorm that I was staying in. Just brought back T-shirts, lanyards, and again, things that are in storage now. Right. But back then you think, how I'm never going to be able to find one of these ever again. I have to get 4 of them.
So I don't know if I've ever told this story on the show before, but so when the tickets went on sale at Walmart for the advanced screen, it was the night before the movie premiered, and you had to go get in line to buy tickets. Well, it's a real crapshoot, especially in the area I live in, on whether or not things are going to be latched onto or not. Do I need to go be the first one in line? Is there going to be a line, or am I going to be the only person standing there? So tickets went on sale, I think, at 8 or 9 a.m. The day that they went on sale in the electronics department of Walmart, which I don't even think most Walmarts have electronics departments anymore. Bring back physical media.
Yes, sir.
But they had large, and I just stuck it in the attic, or I would bring it here and show it to you, because it's taller than I am. Large cardboard, 3-dimensional displays of line up here to buy your Man of Steel tickets. And it was a nice promotional shot of Cavill and all the information, and tickets went on sale at this time, and be here and get your. And they were really nice tickets, like almost teaser poster tickets. Have you got one of those?
I've got one somewhere. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, just behind me. It's not the one. This was the England one. I didn't get to go to this event, but that was from the UK premiere.
Yeah.
But your ones were like that, almost like a door sign, weren't they?
That's it. A little bit shorter.
Massive Walmart sign across the bottom.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. So these marquees, I'll call them, were kind of similar. Ended up, I think I got it. This was back when Walmart was open 24 hours. Kids. Yeah. I got in line. I was like, well, I'm going to go about 6. I was like, 2 hours. I can pass the time. Of course, nobody showed up. I was the only person to buy. They were like, do you want all the tickets? I was like, yes. Just give me.
Give them here. Give me.
I'll get people to go with me. But I had a buddy with me who likes Superman, but is not at all what he's much more of a Star Wars. His Superman is Star Wars. I'll put it like that. But he went with me and helped me spend time. So we're leaving after having been there a couple hours waiting, the only ones waiting for these tickets. And I just said, man, I'd love to have those cardboard, those marquees. And Spencer, my buddy, just picked it up, stuck it under his arm, and starts walking out the door. And I was like, what are you doing? And he was like, it says this date at this time. That was 45 minutes ago. These are useless now. Like, what? Well, they're just going to throw them in the dumpster. And I was like, fair. I was like, fair, but should we just not ask? And he was like, just you beg forgiveness, don't ask permission.
Yeah,
so
as long as you walk with enough grace and confidence,
if you know
nobody
what you're
will
doing.
ask you any questions at all.
Okay.
Luckily with me, so when the DVD release happened, because where my work is, it's situated next to a supermarket, so they had lots of Henry Cavill cutouts, and I was like, when you're not finished with those, where do they go? And like, we just chuck them in the bin. I was like, okay, I'm going to take them all. I had about sort of 3 Henry Cavill stands out at one point, but they don't use them again. They just throw them away. You're doing your bit for the environment.
That's exactly right. But so we're walking out the door, and he's got this giant 5.5, I don't know, 6 foot. It's 5.5.
One of them
tall.
was there. It's a tall one.
It's 2 of them. There's 2 different ones. One of them was just the shield, and the shield was like even more 3-dimensional because it came out from the marquee, the build itself. And then there was another one that had Cavill on it. And he's got both of them just under his arm, walking out the door. And the greeter's like, "Sir," and he never broke his stride. And walking out the door goes, "Corporate needs these back."
Oh, that's a friend there. That's a friend there.
They're in my attic now.
Walmart, we apologize,
Yeah.
but it's been over 10 years now.
It's been fine. They've been here for a while, but now I needed the space, so now they're in storage. But yeah, I probably have too many stories. like
That's the thing. But I mean, when they did the Batman v Superman premiere here in the UK, it was the first sort of event like that I went to. I was there behind the little fences, watching everybody walk down the red carpet. Managed to get a few things signed and a wonderful handshake moment with the man himself. Yeah, it was that's a big part of my origin story, actually, because that's when I was sort of shy and retiring.
Yeah, the
thought of me leaving my house and going to London for a whole day, because how they used to do it then, you would get to London very early, which, I mean, London for me, we're a small country, as you know. It takes me about 2 hours to get to London, but you had to get to London for 6 a.m. to get a wristband. What that wristband meant is that you could go back later on in the day, like about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, be put into a pen, and you would stay there and then just watch the stars walk up and down the carpet. You wouldn't go and get to see the film. You would just see them walk up and down the carpet. And that for me was exciting enough. And a friend recommended it, saying, "Look, come out, just experience it once." I was like, okay, let's do it once. This was my year for doing things that I normally wouldn't. Went there, loved it. Got a few signatures on a hat that I had nothing to sign because I wasn't going to get anything signed. But I said, had a Superman hat, had a Sharpie. They started signing things, so I got one of my hats signed by Jesse and Ben and a few of the others. And at this point, I'm still rubbish at taking selfies, so I was like trying to take pictures with people, and it was just failing.
Yeah.
And then Henry came out and walked up the red carpet, and the place went absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
He walked past and he was signing things for people. He signed my hat, and in that millisecond of a moment, I said to him, "Thank you very much for pretty much everything you've done for Superman." And he took the hat, looked at it, said thank you, shook my hand, and then walked off. And I was like, that's an amazing moment.
Good moment.
And I've got absolutely no bragging rights because I've got no proof. I've got no camera footage. I've got no video footage. But on the train home that night, turns out that the event was being streamed for YouTube. And at the very moment when Mr. Cavill walked up to me, signed my hat, shook my hand, it was on camera. And there's sort of video footage. So I managed to bring that home, get the video footage, screen print the image, put that in a frame so I've got, that's one of those, as we were talking about, unique little things. I've got that in a picture frame with a photograph that he signed when back in the days when you could send a self-addressed envelope to a talent agency, and he signed that and sent it back. So, and after that day, as you said, so that was one of my origin story moments. I thought, wow, this is what can happen if you step out of a few comfort zones and try something new. And throughout that, I really enjoyed sharing the experience with followers on Instagram and Facebook. And it was, I think, about a few months after that where the Geek of Steel side of me, that Frankenstein's monster, came out. And it's been fun ever since.
Yeah, that was my next question, talking about going from reserve to going to podcasting, how that was born for you. We've been doing this now. We just celebrated 19 years. Last month, which is crazy. I mean, obviously, we quit for when the show went off. We were like, well, there's not much to talk about. And then, at a certain point, we were like, but there's so much more than just Smallville. Like, we loved Smallville, but there's so many other things to talk about. There's, and now Superman and Lois is on the air, and My Adventures with Superman. There's so many. This for the first time in a while, I feel like we're eating well. As
Superman fans, that is a perfect way of putting it. For decades upon decades, yes, we've had a fantastic back catalogue of comics and stories, films, and some fantastic animation. But it's nice going back to the same restaurant all the time, but sometimes you want to go somewhere new.
Right.
And as you said, we are eating well right now with the TV shows, with the new animations, with the new film, with new comics and new storylines being tackled.
As I often say, is this what it feels like to be a Batman fan? Like, is this?
Yeah, I know. Is this what it's like? I can understand now why Batman gets so much love constantly.
Yeah.
But as superheroes go, Batman's not too bad. He's
not
my
at
top
all.
10. He's on my top 10 list somewhere.
Yeah.
That was one of the other things we did recently. We went to see the 1989 Batman with a live orchestra.
Nice.
And that was another just experience to see. But no, yes, we are eating well as Superman fans. And yeah, from doing all this and doing the podcast, people say, well, do you ever get bored talking about Superman? I said, well, no, because there's so many different elements of that tapestry, as I call it. There's so many pieces of Superman's life that you can talk about and his impact on pop culture, whether it be films or fashion or music or art. Something about Superman is that he's always been around for us, as for most of our lives and other generations. Superman has been that superhero. He will be spotted around the world in the smallest of towns in the middle of nowhere. So, but right now, as you say, yes, we are eating well.
Yeah.
There's I would never say the line that there's too much Superman stuff, because I wouldn't want to put that out there into the ether.
No.
Right now, there's an adequate amount, but I would like just a little sprinkle more.
I feel like we're, saying we're eating well implies, at least on my part, that I was starving for a while for it. And yes, I mean, especially after Smallville went off the air, we weren't getting a Returns sequel.
No.
And until, it was only a couple years until Man of Steel came around, but it was sadly of clear after Dawn of Justice that began
we're back to where we were again. We're back to the trickle.
And I mean that in the most respectful manner, because obviously it's funny because I never thought toxic fandom would apply here. I remember being a kid and the Death of Superman and stuff, reading that. I skipped school to go buy the Death of Superman the day Superman 75, the day it came out. Stuff like that. And it was always, in my experience, it's always been such a welcoming community. Because if you like Superman, then you like what he represents. And that is not, in any form or fashion, toxicity whatsoever. I mean, again, we've been around the block. We've seen it all. We've seen the sort of the real life bullying, as it were, in school, and we know the signs. We know when it happens online. We can see those traits. And we lived in a time where we weren't online. Or
when
where we visited online, where online was a thing you went to and not something that went with you all the time. Like you could leave it in the corner of the room and walk away from it, and you weren't online anymore. Now we're always online.
Going online was back then our safe place, and sometimes now it's the absolute opposite. The internet for me was an absolute gateway into my love for Superman and pop culture, because it opened up so many windows, as it were. I got to see a side of Superman and news about Superman that I never had before. I can remember one of the first ever websites I went to was the Superman homepage.
Yes.
And it's learning things through the eyes of other Superman fans and getting recommendations. So back then, for me, as I said, I wanted to sort of read more Superman comics. I wanted to know more about the world of Superman. I think one of the first recommendations someone said was, well, if you enjoyed Smallville, go off and read The Death of Superman. I was like, okay, I've only just found love for this character. Why do I want to know about his death? read The Death of Superman and The Return of the Superman. I was like, okay, I get it. If I had a time machine now, I want to go back to that day when those comics hit the shelves.
It was just... I was 9, 10, 9. It was a holy day. Like it was such there was a reverency around it like you could not believe. Like it was on the front page of our local newspaper. Like our local little southern town newspaper that one day I got to go be a reporter at. Like that, like to be like
full circle.
So like it was just Superman dead, and it was just, it was on TV. It was on the NBC nightly news, Superman dead, running across the ticker at the bottom. And it was I just remember seeing it everywhere. And I feel like that's the closest we've gotten to Superman mania was unfortunately 20 years ago, or 30 years ago at this point. 30 years, Jesus. Yeah, that's right. But I seeing it now and coming back around and seeing, I hate we're losing Superman and Lois, because I feel like that has filled a void on television that definitely that Smallville left behind, but to follow in the footsteps of Lois and Clark and the Adventures of Superman and even the Adventures of Superboy series, that's Superman has done well on TV, and for the most part, at least for the past 30 years, far better than it has fared on the silver screen.
Yes.
And so I hate to say goodbye to that. I love that we've gotten My Adventures with Superman. It's not something that I would have ever thought I would. I'm not a huge anime. I've never really delved into that style of animation. Is not. I mean, I don't yuck anybody else's yum if that's your thing, and you're not hurting anybody and you're not mean to anybody. Like what you like without being a jerk. Like absolutely. And when I saw that was coming originally, I was like, that may not be for me, but it's going to be for somebody else. It may be somebody else's introduction to Superman. But then I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and the characterizations that they've done there. So I'm glad we still have Superman on TV, even though we're losing Superman and Lois with the 4th season coming to an end this fall, because that show has meant a lot to me personally. Those characterizations, what Bitsy and Tyler have done with their iterations of the character, have been nothing short of phenomenal, I think. And it speaks to an actor's craft when somebody who, whether it be a Doctor Who or a James Bond or somebody who has been played by so many different people over so many different decades, and that you're still able to bring something new to the table and engaging. And that's one of the things I'm most excited for with Karinswit and Rachel coming up next year, is seeing what they bring to the table. It's again, and that's those elements that I love being a fan of something. It's seeing the people that, well, first of all, having a connection with the character is something completely different to how an actor or actress performer might portray them. But that's what excites me. I want to know how they would portray Superman when they're sad, or when they're angry, or when they're being foolish. And what I've seen of all the performers so far that are going to be in James Gunn's film is I've liked seeing their range, like seeing what they're capable of. And I think that's going to be fresh to see how they bring these characters out of their shells in this new film. But yeah, as you said, definitely with My Adventures with Superman, and the TV and animation over the years has been wonderful. We've had some fantastic. I mean, they've carried the weight of Superman on screen on their back when we haven't been able to enjoy it in the theater. They've definitely filled a void. I mean, that's what I absolutely loved about Smallville, and just growing up with it over that decade and enjoying new episodes when we would finally get them in the UK, or however ways I would be able to watch that said new episode. It's something that has made me always hungry for new Superman material. Being of that generation where we don't get everything on our plate right now, right then, we don't get it all at once. We have to wait. We have to be fed, as it were, little bits here and little bits there. It made us appreciate what we got, because it wasn't everywhere at the same time, which is why now I think sometimes in this generation where every episode sometimes gets released at once and people can go and binge it and spoil it within an instant, it takes that episodic enjoyment out of the release of something. So that's why, at least with a film, you get something at the same time as everyone else. Again, back in the UK, when it was sort of a movie was being released, we wouldn't necessarily get it on the same day. We would have to wait a few weeks for that film to cross the pond and get here. Right. But now we get it on the same day, which is a nice touch. So I am grateful for that. But as I said, keep going back to what you said. Now we are eating well because
back then we didn't know when our next Superman meal was coming from.
Well, yeah, perfect way of saying that. And I think too, it's one of the things I appreciate so much. Why I appreciate so much iterations that other people may not. I adore Superman Returns. I will fight anyone tooth and nail on Superman Returns. Not just because I had the experience of getting to work on the sequel that didn't pan out, but just like, it's a very personal film to me. It is Casablanca with Superman. I mean, it truly is. I think Brandon Routh did an amazing performance. I think he was horribly dismissed from the role, and not necessarily from Hollywood, because he went on to do amazing things, and thank God we got to see him put on the suit again one day, just not the way we wanted to.
But some closure was there.
Yes,
that's for sure.
Absolutely. Not even just closure, just acknowledgement. Just you were not the problem, sir. Like if there was an issue, which I mean I know a lot of people have with it, it wasn't you. You were fantastic. You had a thankless job. You were literally trying to follow in the footsteps of Reeve. And
big shadow.
It was
big shadow,
huge,
big boots
to fill, big cape to fill. And I think he did a phenomenal job. Whatever anybody else's opinions on the rest of the movie, it's hard for me, and having done this in media so long, talking about the Man of Steel. I find myself having to defend more than I would like to. But at my age, I started this podcast when I was 21. I'm 39 now. Jesus, Mary, and Rhoda. Yeah, that's a lot. So, but I hate to be the old man shaking the stick and be like the youth of today. But when I see Smallville getting a bum rap online, I'm like, you weren't there. Like you need to fully understand that you weren't there, and it was so in the zeitgeist at the time, because the WB, the network that it aired on. You mentioned Dawson's Creek earlier. I mean, it was things like that for that age group, for that, and I was right in that wheelhouse at the time. I was a freshman when Clark was a freshman. I grew up, and it was such an important. I mean, clearly, such an important part of my youth. Superman was before that. I mean, I loved. My favorite thing to do as a kid, and I say it's the reason I became a writer, is because I had all the 80s superpower figures, and I just made up my own storylines with my Superman and Darkseid and Riddler and Robin and all of them. But I have the most difficult time when people call it corny or something. I'm like, okay, yes. Like I give you the utmost allowance to say, yeah, it's corny. But it also meant something to so many of us, and still continues to. And I don't think it should be dismissed, just like I don't think Returns should be dismissed or diminished from the legacy of this character, or these characters. I mean, to me, Lois Lane is as important as Superman. They're my two favorite things. Clark Kent, Lois Lane, Superman. Because
she was around since day one as well, so she is
absolutely.
Equally as Portman as Superman.
There should be a Lois Lane day as well.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
But no, and I often get in those heated debates as well when people say, oh, well, why Superman? Why not Batman? Why not Iron Man or Daredevil or Deadpool? I said, because Superman means something to me.
Yeah.
Superman is something that has given me enjoyment, whether it be from Smallville or the comics. As you said, we grew up with this show. So, and I feel like going back to Action Comics #1, if we didn't have that comic, we wouldn't have everything that we have today. If we didn't have Smallville, you wouldn't have got Flash. You wouldn't have got any of the dozens of shows that Disney and Marvel are putting out. Mm-hmm. We owe so much to the world of Superman and the world of Lois Lane and the world of Metropolis.
Yeah.
That, yes, something may appear as being corny or outdated or not as cool as it could be. It doesn't matter if it means something to someone. And I'm, again, Superman Returns is, as you said, it's a beautiful film.
Mm-hmm.
It's one that I adore. Brandon was at the 2018 Superman celebration, and he was one of the reasons why I had to go. I wasn't sure if he would ever come to another English con. He'd been to a few in the past, but he went there. I ended up getting so much stuff signed. And as you said, you don't want to meet your heroes or meet those locations. On the day of meeting Brandon, he was staying at the same hotel I was staying at, and I saw him walk past me in the lobby after a night of no sleep, of just pure excitement. The butterflies in my stomach were absolute pterodactyls. And the moment he was in the little place where he was signing and saying hello to people, when I stepped up to him, there was just this moment of calm. He had long hair. He was quite shaggy. He looked like Clark Kent.
Yeah.
He spoke like Clark Kent. He stood like Clark Kent. He brought his real life mum and dad to the event.
Yeah.
And at one point, his mum brushed the hair out of his face, and I was like, "This is my moment. This is fantastic." And from that moment, I already had a lot of love for Superman Returns before that moment, but after that, and seeing him there and just listen to everybody's thoughts about why he was such a fantastic Superman. It was a beautiful moment. And that, again, I can see that poster there behind you. I've got mine on the wall over there.
Oh, yeah,
It was, again, we hadn't had any fresh Superman content for so long.
Yeah.
We had Smallville at the same time, but to have a sort of I remember having that Superman Returns trailer happen.
Yeah.
Just like this was a big moment.
Yeah.
This is big.
Well, so and we always had our big thing back then was we were in college. Everybody would come over and watch Smallville. I mean, we'd have 10, 12 people crammed in our tiny apartment living room watching.
Heaven.
And a lot of them just enjoyed it, came over to watch it because we were so into it that we're hosting the show at the time and everything. And I can remember the night it was the episode Solitude, season 5 episode Solitude aired, and then the second act break was the Returns teaser, and it opens with the Kent Farm mailbox, and one of the guys was like, "I love you all, but how is that different than what you're literally on commercial break from watching right now?" Because there was a mailbox shot, or at least the hanging sign shot in the episode. I'm like, you don't get it, like. Like different. I don't ever want to be accused of gatekeeping. Like that's not, but at the same time, I'm always kind of like
a little bit.
I feel like I have to gatekeep a little bit
little bit,
a tad, especially when there's negativity, and you know we've seen unfortunately over the past decade a lot more negativity in this fandom. In some circles, and I hate that because I don't feel like it's indicative of what the character represents. And you mentioned why Superman and why not Batman or why not Daredevil or why not, and because I feel like some of those are the Venn diagram of those characters overlap so much, and there's not a whole lot that overlaps with Superman. Like he's so standalone in what his background, like his origin represents and what he represents once he becomes Superman, and the dual identity of it all, which I know a lot of them have that, but the way he presents the dual identity, and you know, if anybody ever asked me why not Batman or why not Flash or Daredevil or whatever, I would say, well, none of them have Lois Lane, which
ooh. Just gonna drop that one down. Sorry, but
you're free to use it. Everything here is fair use. When you see negativity, which you run an account much like we do, you see that. I see it a lot more now than I guess I was sheltered from a good bit of it because I didn't go in search of those circles, of those things, those discussions and those debates, what have you. Because I like my fandom even kill. I don't need drama. Like I'm not set out to engage in any. Like everybody's welcome here. You like what you like. I will like what I like, and don't be a jerk about it. Like
that's it.
All you have to do is enjoy what you enjoy and not diminish what somebody else enjoys. Like at the end of the day, that's it.
That's it. That you have to do less work. There is less work involved if you can just like something. If you don't like it, move on.
You're working.
Find something that you do.
You're working so much harder to acknowledge the fault, what you believe, your opinions.
Yes.
We're saying the quiet part out loud. I know both of us are without saying it out loud. But when you see those things, what is your mentality? Because it disheartens me. And maybe at 39, 40 years old, it shouldn't because of the way the world is now. But to this day, I'd probably get more disappointed about fallout in discussions of Superman than I do in Washington D.C. Because that's going to be the way it is always. But
it's all politics.
It's all politics.
I mean, I've been around since the days of forums and the original sort of social media, as it were. And over the years, I have formed some fantastic friendships, and sadly, over the years, some nemesi as well,
plural.
But we see people come and go, and you see some people that just want to hate on some things. They want to be that negative voice in the room. Devil's advocate, I'm all for that. I love to have a conversation with someone if they would like to try and tell me why they don't like Superman.
Yeah,
I would try and say, well, maybe if you looked at it from this angle, I'm not going to sort of turn you around. I'm not going to convert you. I will say, though, it has happened once or twice over the years, and I'm very proud about that. But if you don't like something, don't put your energy into that. And yes, I've had a few posts over the years that have done well and brought me new eyes to my pages or wherever I may be. And sometimes when the comment section blows up and it's negative, I will spend as much time as I can not debating or speaking them out or hearing them out. It would just be me muting people.
Yeah.
Not necessarily blocking people. If they want to come back and have a look to see what Superman or I am getting up to, then good for you.
Yeah.
Again, you are spending your time doing something that doesn't give you joy.
Yeah.
And if that's what you like to do, good, go for it.
Go for it.
But it's the negativity that I've never really understood when it goes hand in hand with a character that is really just about hope and being a better person because you choose to be. Not that you have to be a good person, but you choose to be the person that has landed on this earth, that has godlike powers, did not use those powers to become a megalomaniac, but chose those powers to be good, to be a good son, to be a good worker, to be a good farmer or neighbor. Those are the choices that we all have in us, and we can all choose to do the right thing. Again, to some, that may sound corny, but I love that about Superman. And that's what I would sometimes, if a reasonable discussion can happen between two strangers on the internet about a fictional character, then those are some interesting moments. But I've got to that point in my life where I don't want to spend energy on an argument that I know isn't going to go anywhere. There's going to be no growth to this debate. It's going to be very one-sided, which could possibly turn into two people shouting over a fictitious fence on the internet.
Right.
But as long as Superman's being talked about, I'm going to be there because it's one of my favorite things to talk about.
I'll be specific. Yesterday was Father's Day in America, and we, Tim, that runs our social media, will do posts in line with holidays for certain things. Yeah. We did a Father's Day post yesterday. We have two accounts. We have at Shoe Smallville on Twitter and at Superman TV Talk. At Shoe Smallville used to be our Smallville account with the more followers, but when Superman Lois started airing, we kind of we swapped accounts to, more eyes on things that are currently happening. So, but we often post in tandem with both accounts, similar things. And so yesterday was Father's Day. Tim posted a lovely 4-panel, Glenn Ford and Jeff East from 78, Schneider and Welling from, I think, season 4. Can't remember what the third image was now off the top of my head. The fourth image was Ralph and Jason from the end of Returns with him sitting next to him.
Yeah, but who did you miss out?
Who do you think?
Yeah.
Well, okay, on that one, but that's my point. On our other account, And the quote was the Jor-El, reiterated in returns quote. And then on the other account, we did My Adventures with Superman with Jonathan, and we did Costner and young Clark sitting on the back of the tailgate from Man of Steel, and two others I can't remember. Lois and Clark was one of them. But anyway, and the quote on that one was, you have to decide whatever man you're going to be, it's going to change the world from Man of Steel. Well, this individual, who doesn't even follow one of our accounts.
Of course, because where would the logic be in that?
Right. Saw the Smallville account post, and that did not include a certain film and certain actors. Yeah. And just went off. Just absolutely went off. Calling names. It's better. This is better than any of those other things. Deal with it. And so I don't get on. When a certain person in this country became president, I got rid of social media because it just there wasn't any personal social media, because there just was no benefit from it anymore, especially in an area like in which I live. And I got on there and I just said, "Why are you posting this?" I said, if you had done any due diligence, and I was just nice. I said, why? Why did you post this? If you had done any due diligence, you would see that right under this post was another post mentioning not only just an image from the movie that you find very beloved and feel the need to, destroy everything else in its path, and not only a picture from, but also the quote was from it. I said, and this is exactly what I said. I said, had you done any due diligence, you'd see another post for Father's Day included Man of Steel. We're saying the quiet part out loud. I said, Superman's legacy bridges decades, iterations, and fans, and diminishing it is narrow-minded. And I said, this just comes off as shallow. I said, we were not comparing and contrasting here. I don't know why you feel the need to. And the amount of times that happens, the amount of times we post, or Tim posts one version of the character and another, and certain other individuals who have played those characters are not represented, but maybe represented if you scroll back 3 or 4 posts, it gets such a hate,
which is a nasty word. It's
a horrible term, and it's also the antithesis of hope. I mean, in a way, like it's so why do that?
One of a post that went really quite popular last year was an image of quite a few different wonderful people that have portrayed Superman over the years.
Yes, I've seen that one. Yeah.
And the amount of comments on that one, we're currently over 600. Most of them are saying, well, why is this person not there again? And why is that person not there? I said, well, this was a specific Comic-Con where all these guys happened to be at the same place at the same time. Yeah. It wasn't an invite-only thing.
They weren't invited to a Superman reunion and somebody was left out.
It was just a con, and it was a wonderful picture. Actually, the person that took the photograph reached out to me, and I gave them credit for it, because the person that was originally in it got airbrushed out, and it was just 5 Supermen.
Oh.
So this poor person, it was like, actually, that's my photograph. It was like, oh, and they've airshot me out. I said, I'm dreadfully sorry. That's often happened a few times where one has to go back and apologize when you've not done your photograph research. But it was just all these negative comments. And I was saying, well, that's so many comments saying, well, where's Christopher Reeve? I was like, don't want to be the person that has to break this news to you, but get on Google.
You're a little late.
Yeah, if you go on askjeeves.com, you're a bit out of the loop there, sweets. But it's sometimes people like to try not be the loudest person in the room, but to just have, it's that shaking your fist at the cloud situation. It's like, I want to be angry for something.
Yeah.
And I found it. Let me latch on to you. And I've noticed that if you do pay some of those voices attention, they will just continue to bark at you.
There's a lack of compassion, but it's also, I just want to be like, and I hate to be like, you don't understand the character, because that goes back to the gatekeeping thing, which I don't want to be.
Yeah,
but it's also like if you claim to love this iteration of the character so much, and to the point that you think the actor that you call him blank is Superman, disavowing or not acknowledging a new film coming out next year because of a hatred online for not continuing the legacy of the last person to play him on screen. That's fine for you to be like that. But, I mean, you can also... Brandon Routh is Superman. Christopher Reeve is Superman. Tom Welling is they're all Superman.
They're all Superman.
George Lazenby is 007. Sean Connery is 007. When you play a character long enough or favored enough, that you continue on in that legacy, which is why those 5 gentlemen are in that picture you just showed me, standing there together with their hands on their, fists on their hips in that pose. And it doesn't benefit you at all to have that narrow scope of a vision for a character that you may love that iteration. That may be your only iteration that you love, and it may be that you feel it's better than any other iteration and no other iteration should come after it. But I got news for you. Superman's going to be here long after we're all in the ground.
And that excites me.
I
would love to have a time machine to go 100, 200 years in time to see if Superman is still about.
Yeah.
I think he will be because he's such a huge impact on, well, as we said, pop culture. But there was another picture like that went viral a couple of years ago, and it was Brandon and Dean Cain on a plane together.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
And even people back then were like, "Well, where's Henry? Where's Tom Welling?" It's like, this isn't a Superman plane.
You just bought a ticket and they happened to be.
It was coincidence at the time.
Nobody's getting left out of the conversation.
No,
you can
when people are left out sometimes, and it upsets them.
Yeah.
And I've had people say, "Oh, if you had to, and you had to get involved in the hashtag, who would you say is not your Superman?" And I was like, I'm not going to get involved of putting that on a photograph.
No.
Because it's such it's negative or disrespectful to the other people that have portrayed Superman. It's negative to the character that I've grown to adore over the years.
Yeah,
Superman is bigger than me, than us, than all of these films and franchises. So to say, "Oh, he's not my Superman," that is just the opposite of gatekeeping, which is just.
It's the opposite of Superman.
Concept.
It's the opposite of what he stands for. To be so obtuse to something that brings joy to so many. I've never done well with the question, and it's a question I'm sure you get asked a lot as well in you doing similar things to us. I've never done well with the question, who's your favorite Superman? There's never been a bad Superman, I don't think.
No.
I've never seen one on screen that I have, and I'm of course talking about film and television. I've never seen a portrayal on screen I have not liked. Are there ones that I like more than others? Sure, I guess. But I also think everybody's brought some of them play Clark Kent better than they played Superman. Some of them played Superman better than they played Clark Kent. So I mean, there's all these different layers to this onion that I don't feel like it's a good question. But it's also, and I keep going back to, I hate to, maybe it's just because you're here, I keep bringing up 007, but it's another franchise I love.
That's fine. You can associate me with Bond, just fine. I see the resemblance.
You
Don't worry
look
about
so much like him, Luke. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. It's, I don't feel like it's in the same vein of asking somebody who's your favorite Bond. Am I wrong there? Is that a different thing?
Because the Bonds over the years have been so different on different levels, whereas Superman still has those same morals and standards over the years, where another actor can come along and bring something to it, but still doesn't lose the charm of the character.
Well, and you also got so many outings with sans Lazenby and Dalton. You get so many outings with certain Bonds that we don't get with Superman. I mean, we were lucky to get Ralph, and we were very lucky to ever get to see him again in the Cape. But there's so little of Ralph. There's so little of Cavill, sadly. Unless you include places where they cut his head off, or he's off in the distance or something, which isn't really him. But you only get so many running time minutes of this version of the character that to say that I don't like that one, I feel like does a disservice and an injustice to the character itself.
And that's perfectly put. I mean, it's that runtime that they get, minutes and seconds and sometimes frames of a character, where to some it can mean the world, to some it can mean, oh, it's just a little blink. It was only a cameo, as it were. It was just a little, a brief appearance. But even if it is just a brief appearance, I'm still going to get enjoyment out of it.
Absolutely.
When I got to see that first Shazam film many years ago, and it was my first red carpet event. I was invited to interview Zachary Levi. And again, that gave me many sleepless nights before it went ahead, because I'd never I'd interviewed people, but never sort of in the flesh, like right in front of my face. And again, he was a charming character, wonderful guy. But at the end of that film, the emotions that I had were just explosive. Even to just see his suit a little bit, but didn't have that moment where it cut off. It was there thinking, "Oh, Am I supposed to love this or hate this? I can't control my emotions."
Yeah.
That's what a film's supposed to do. Right. That's what an experience is supposed to do to you. And it was, again, it's more controversy. Superman's very good at doing that. But I love seeing my hero on the screen, on the TV, on an iPad, in a book or in a comic. Superman is my home team.
Yes.
I'm always going to support him.
Yes.
No matter what it's in. And I'm just very grateful that we are right now, keep going back to it, but yes, we are being well fed.
Yeah.
And it's always a good time to be a Superman fan. That's what I like to think.
Yeah.
But right now it's an exciting time.
Do you have a and you don't have to share it if you do, but a checklist running in your head of what things you want to see next year in the theater that maybe you haven't gotten before, or you're like, why haven't we done this, or something?
Now, I've got plenty of notes on my phone that are subcategories and spoilers, songs that I want to have in the soundtrack, things that have been a date and time stamped, so that if it does happen in the film, I can be like, well, I predicted this back in 2020. Something that I've always wanted to see in a Superman film or a cartoon, and a full-on, real life film, as it were. I want to see some crypto moments, because I've always loved that element of Superman and a dog, whether it's him running off and catching a tree instead of a stick. Yeah. It's moments like that. It's the comic moments that I love to see. I love the quiet moments when it's Clark reflecting, or whether it's Kal reflecting. I adore any moment where Lois is wrapped in Superman's arms and that slow lift happens. We saw it in Returns, and it was stunning. Any moment where there's just a little bit of magic, where it's the cliche tagline of where you believe a man can fly. Yes. It's those moments that it's just, you can hear the strings in the background. It's either a quiet moment or it's a moment after an exciting battle. I want some. I've got a long list of wants. Don't worry. Think about. I want the majesty. I want the mystical. I want to be taken on a very not overly detailed story. I would love to have, the perfect Superman film. Many can say we've already had that with Superman 78. As origin stories go, in that film, I don't think we even see Superman for the first hour.
No,
I don't think
it's almost like the hour mark in the fortress when he appears.
Yeah. But something like that, where we get a wonderful story. And I mean, yes, we all know, even when Superman 78 came out, people would have known the origin story of Superman. Yeah. So even if we just get a glimpse of his origin story in the new film, wonderful. Yeah. But people want always different things. They want the Easter eggs, they want the nods, they want the cameos, they want the references to films and characters that they know, and the niche characters that James Gunn is so good at introducing, those darkened characters and those characters that are often hidden in the back of the comics because nobody thinks they're worthy of screen time. But I'm pretty sure that James Gunn knows what he's doing when it comes to paying attention to certain elements of a story, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he not only portrays Superman, but what he does with Clark Kent. Clark Kent, as we know, is as important to Superman as Lois Lane is. Absolutely. And I think James Gunn gets that. He's very good at building characters up. He did a fantastic job with the Guardians films. Again, characters that were really not many people knew about, and it became one of the biggest franchises for Marvel. I'm just hoping for a story on the big screen that families can enjoy, film lovers can enjoy, lovers of Superman and lovers of adventure. It's been a long time coming where we get a new film coming out that is just Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we found out that other characters are already going to be in this film, and some people have worried that there's too many, too quick, too soon. But I'm hoping that the storyline is still going to be based around Superman and that message of hope and choosing to do the right thing and being the best you can be.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the massive things that I've always loved about Superman is even on your down days when you've not saved as many buildings as you think you can, it's knowing that you've tried your best and that you are willing to try a little bit harder tomorrow.
Yep. Very well put, sir. Thank you. Luke, where can our listeners find you online?
Just search for me. Just search for Luke Bugg, the Geek of Steel, and this furry face.
Just come to your house. Just come on.
Just rock up.
Just come around.
There's no gravel or Smallville farm outside here. But no, yeah, it's Superman for me is a character that's brought me so much joy over the years and some wonderful experiences. And just announced yesterday that this is the first year that I will be going to San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah,
and it's very exciting. Going with my good friend Paul from DC World here in the UK. We've both been to America on solo adventures. We've both visited different cons. But for this one, we've joined forces so we can be there for each other to help each other out. And we will be in LA for 2 days and then going down to San Diego to experience as much as this event as possible. And I'm a little bit scared, but more excited than scared.
I've been 5 or 6 times. I can't remember. It is the closest, hopefully, that you will ever come to feeling like you were in a zombie apocalypse. I mean, just the hordes of people.
Yay!
Yay! Yeah, and I can't imagine it since I've not been since COVID. When I went previously is when Smallville was on the air and we were, in the press room and doing panels and stuff. We had a panel a couple of times ourselves, but I don't know what it's become since COVID, other than just watching what I've seen online. But it's not the happiest place on earth, but it's not a Disneyland. But there's something about it. There's something in the air there that is magical a little bit, and it's something you don't find anywhere else. It's insane. It's Nerd Vegas on steroids. Like it's a crazy whirlwind of a week, of a 5-day experience that I've the old idiom of I spent a month there one night, that kind of thing.
Wow.
That's exactly how Comic-Con always was to be. Because you would plan, you would be in advance, you would get the guide. I'm going to go to this panel. I'm going to hit the showroom floor after that. I'm going to go have dinner. Throw it out the window. Like it never went according to plan. It never would go according to plan because something would happen. My favorite, I'll tell you this, we'll go. My favorite Comic-Con story, I think it was the last year I went. We had done a panel for Starkville House of L, and our heroes. We had a show for NBC's Heroes, the 10th Wonder podcast, and we kind of did those in tandem together. Did a panel. I'm leaving the panel. I was going to hit back the showroom floor before going back to the hotel and to take a nap because there were press parties that night and everything. And a gentleman walks up to me on my left as I'm going toward the floor. And dark aviator, sunglasses, hat, jacket, collar turned up, and wearing a mask. Cloth mask, and the voice said, "Can you tell me where the restroom is?" And instant, I heard that voice. I was like, "Oh my god, it's Adam West!" Like asking me where the bathroom.
Oh, dude!
And I don't know if it's because of the lanyard I had on was different than other people's because of the panels and the press. There were different badges attached to it and everything, so it looked a little different. I don't know if he thought I was in some official capacity, and he was heading toward the showroom too, and I was like, "Don't go that way, sir. Don't go." And I didn't acknowledge that you
knew,
was just like, grew up watching you. Please, I know you have to use the urinal, but please take a photo with me before you hit the bathroom. No, I didn't do that, but I had gone to the restroom before the panel started, so I took him. I was like, don't go that way, because there's some down here where nobody's at. And he taps me on the shoulder and says, "Thank you, citizen." And I was like,
oh my god, goosebumps, dude.
Yeah, just crazy. And then like an hour and a half later, I'm walking the floor, and he passes me again later. And I wasn't gonna obviously say anything. Why would you remember? And he looked at me and he goes, "Thank you again," and just kept going. And I was like, "You're welcome, Dark Knight." I got to be Robin for like 9 seconds. It was wonderful.
Fantastic 9 seconds though, and that's. I mean, if I go for crazily busy days, I want those little moments of memories to stay with me, and that's what everybody has said. Their advice has been pretty much: don't expect to see everything. No, go there, enjoy it, experience it. And I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go again. This could be a once in a lifetime opportunity. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go there to experience it. I've spoken with guys from England that have been there before, and we're all getting some fantastic advice, but everybody's advice is different. That's why I'm trying to get as many opinions as possible. I don't want to all sugarcoat it by people saying, "Oh, this is the mega con. This is the con where everyone wants to be." If I can do it once in my life, I'm happy. For me, this is a big comfort zone escape, and I'm ready for it. I think. I mean, it's all going ahead now. The tickets have been bought, the planes and flights have been all paid for, so it's happening. Yeah, I'm ready to experience. But I think the best advice people have said is don't expect to see everything. Just go and let it happen. Yeah, go and let it happen. I mean, that's the best thing you can do. I mean, I'm not sure what is all happening there yet. We will get more updates over the upcoming weeks. Right. There's no really exclusives that I want to purchase. We are doing the Warner Brothers tour, though. That's really fun. That's a good one. And right now it's got the Batmobile exhibit and everything. It's neat. And there's the Warner Brothers shop, of course, which we're going to have to visit. Yes. I mean, because I love the Warner Brothers store online. Again, it's another situation where they just won't ship anything to the UK, which is a real bugger. And I've seen quite a lot of the Superman 78 merch that I simply can't find over here. So it's going to be an expensive trip. I know that for sure. But speaking with so many fantastic people and getting tips and advice about what to expect, it's going to be a fun and adventurous week. And I'm going to come home and just lock myself away in a darkened room for about a week after, as my social battery slowly recharges. Yeah, you'll be like Clark in Superman 4, just sitting in the dark. Go ahead and start taking your daily dose of vitamin C and everything now. Go ahead and so you don't get the con crud, if at all possible. I don't know if it's the con crud may have turned to con COVID now. I don't know, but do your best. Hope not. I've got vitamins, I've got pills, I've got supplements. Yeah. I've got enough to keep me going. There you go. It's anything that could trank an elephant, just go ahead and start on that now. So I'll take that. Thanks very much. Nice and healthy. All right, good deal. You can find Luke, the Geek of Steel, online wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as Instagram, Twitter. Are you on TikTok? X and Threads, not TikTok, but Facebook and everything else on YouTube. And I think you can find me on TikTok. I think I grabbed that username when it first came out, but I'm not there. Nice. Just search for me and I will. He'll pop up. He'll come to your house. Somewhere. He'll come to your house. I will. I'll come around for a cup of tea. I'm fine with that. Love it. You can find us online, of course, SmallvillePodcast.com or Superman and Lois Lane Podcast.com. We, as I said, we've celebrated 19 years and we're looking ahead to the future. And you can find us on TikTok at Smallville Podcast. I think we're on Instagram at Starkville House of L. Tim worries about all that, so I don't have to. And and we appreciate you listening. Luke, this was a fantastic conversation. I appreciate you coming on. I hate that it's taken this long for our paths to cross. But it's crossed now. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, exactly. They're going to cross again. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. So I hope you'll come back again and join us. And until then, we will see you next time. Bye, everybody. Okay. Bye-bye.